Welcome back to the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. This is one of the challenges that I'm pretty sure people have been waiting for because this is usually considered as one of the hardest challenges of the entire game. This is Challenge 7, Suicide King, and you know what, we're just going to restart. I'm sorry, but having a completely useless and detrimental pill at the beginning of the playthrough like that, we can deal without that. I mean, this challenge is hard enough as it is. So, this is Challenge 7, Suicide King. You play as Lazarus, you start with Ipecac, Mr. Mega, and this new item that we haven't seen yet, it's called My Reflection. Whenever you shoot tears, they fly back toward you like a boomerang. Except, with Ipecac shots, this is pretty much the last thing that you'd want to see bouncing back toward your face. So, this is where the challenge of this challenge come forward. Can you kill enemies without killing yourself by throwing this giant explosive ball back at your own face? Well, this is what we're going to see. Honestly though, even though it's generally considered as one of the hardest challenges of the entire game, I really like this one because compared to some other really hard challenges in the game, I'm thinking about stuff like the cat challenge, and a couple of the challenges that we haven't seen yet because they're still further down the list, well, at least you start this one really powerful. The big challenge here is that using your power requires a whole lot of effort. So, I might as well throw a couple of early tips that you can use in order to make this challenge a little bit more bearable. Whenever you want to attack enemies, it's good that you have a head start toward them because that will make your tears have more forward momentum. And generally what you'll want to do for this challenge is to get direct hits on your enemies so that the projectiles will not have the chance to fly back toward you. And finally, try to stay alive. Honestly, it's kind of not worth it to die as Lazarus here because you don't really gain anything good out of resurrecting and then getting the upgraded version of your character because honestly for the... okay, I'm not too sure what I'm doing here. I'm pretty sure I have a huge ploy in order to get money, but I'm gonna try and figure it out in due time. But at least a fun thing with Suicide King is that it's pretty easy to find secret rooms because you'll always end up throwing one bomb at a completely random place and, well, it's just going to allow you to get to a secret room. And yeah, we have very challenging bosses like Pin that are never going to get to us, okay, or maybe it can if we miss our shot entirely, but yeah, for the most part, this is a challenge that will go by really fast, so in overall, I think this is not a long slug of a challenge that you're gonna have to trudge through one floor at a time, hoping that you'll get enough things to get by. No, for the most part, this one is pretty fast-paced, and this is why I like it. With that said, I probably could do without the million of curses that I'm seeing through the course of this playthrough. I am already cursed enough by the circumstances that I have to fight with, so we're not going to further stretch this out. Okay, I think the best part of this challenge is just to practice your showboating ability by completely doing impossible shots that will never ever work in a normal game because honestly you're never gonna want to pick up My Reflection when you have Ipecac or vice versa. Honestly, My Reflection is not even an item that I'll want to pick up to begin with. For the most part, it's not really useful unless you have like piercing tears because then you can shoot a tear through an enemy and then it will come back through the enemy to hit it again. So therefore, this is a pretty good way in order to make My Reflection work, but otherwise I'd rather just have my tears go the entire mile and shoot everyone for sure. But this is a challenge that you're probably going to spend a couple of attempts in order to successfully do because it probably will take a couple of games in order to be used to the ways that you'll use in order to attack enemies. Also, Rusted Key probably would have been a good trinket, but the tick is also not bad for this one challenge, because every single time we're gonna hand the floor, we're going to gain some health back, and it's also going to lower the boss health, although it's not really a huge important thing, because, well, the bosses are going to die that fast anyway, so it's completely a non-issue, but having some health back at the end of a floor is going to be a nice thing, however. So, in overall, I think this is one of those challenges where you'll want to have as many heart containers as possible. After all, you're probably not going to find too many items that will allow you to farm soul hearts or anything. Apart from maybe like a dark bomb, that probably will be the only thing that will work for this challenge, and you still have to find them. And I suppose this is also going to help because we're going to get even more damage on the board, even though everything is pretty much already dying in 1 or 2 hits. The ultimate way to cheese this challenge would have been to get like Dr. Fetus, because there's a glitch that makes it so that it will turn your Dr. Fetus bombs and make them completely insanely overpowered. But if you're gonna have that, you're gonna have to wait until you fight Mom and hope that Dr. Fetus will spawn in the boss rush, because this is another one of these challenges where you have absolutely not a thing like a treasure room, as usual. Yeah, Tears Down is also not going to be too much of an issue. It's not as if you need to fire fast whenever you have Ipecac. Oh, look at your puny explosive. I have the biggest explosives ever, and unlike you, I know how to aim them. That's right, I can trash talk pixels into a video game, as well as completely blow up myself in the process. Alright, one more chance to get a devil item, or maybe an angel item, who knows. After all, we're still eligible for those. We haven't taken anything in the devil room. There was a little brimstone earlier for grabs, but for the purposes of this challenge, it's not really useful, because it's not as if you're ever going to hold the attack button down in order to attack. You're just going to tap it once and then watch as the projectile will fly toward an enemy, or if it just goes and fly back into your own face. So, in overall, you don't want anything that will charge up whenever you do this, so that's why I skipped up on it. And besides, it's 2 red hearts, so yeah. In this one playthrough, I will not use the little brimstone to begin with, and finally, it will not work. So I know I've said this already, but going back to Rebirth after Afterbirth, really it makes everything look so sluggish. I can't wait until we get there. Whenever this update will be done, we probably should have like a countdown in order to showcase how much updates there are left until Afterbirth, so that we can finally check out the new unexplored territory. I'm kinda looking forward to it. Another boss dies in about 10 seconds or so. Thank you, Ipecac. Oh, and hello, new item that we just got. This is the Guardian Angel. This is essentially a familiar whose main purpose is to block enemy shots that go around you, but you can also use it to injure enemies if you want. But you use it primarily in order to block enemy shots. And it was way better in the original Flash game, because it rotated so fast around you that the chances of it blocking enemy shots were really high. But I figured that with the plethora or the overabundance of familiars that will rotate around you in order to kill other enemies, having everything to speed up at a really fast speed will make it so that it will pretty much be impossible to use it in a reliable way. So I guess this is why it's being slowed down that way. So it's really not as good, and finally the only way that you can get this item to begin with is in the Angel Room. Oh, okay, 2 Joker cards. I guess I'm just gonna use another one in order to get yet another new item. And this one is new to Rebirth, and it's also a pretty good one. It's the Trinity Shield, and it allows you to block enemy projectiles in the direction that you're firing, but no, it doesn't block Brimstone before you ask. But this is the kind of item that usually makes it so that certain fights into the game, aka Mom's Heart, It Lives, become a complete joke because you can just park yourself into one corner of the room and you let the shield block every single shot while you fire at the boss non-stop. Also, you don't have to do what I'm doing in order to blow up beggars, but come on, this is way more fun to do it this way. And finally, I would not have found this secret room if I just decided to use one of my 11 bombs in order to kill the beggar. So all in all, this was perfect. And we're gonna do the same thing again. I don't care that we're gonna spend like an entire minute and that we're going to kill ourselves to toxic vapors. Nope, we're going to do it this way or the highway. And in the meantime, we're gonna watch our projectiles go down really slowly. So there are a couple of items that are going to help you during the course of this one challenge. And it's especially the items that will speed up the speed of your tears, because that will make it so that they will travel further ahead before they bounce back toward your face. And likewise, anything that will slow down your tears is a big no-no, because it will make it infinitely harder to attack enemies. The blue cap is one of those items, and apart from that, I'm not too sure of other items that you'll find at the ending of a floor like that are going to do the same thing. So essentially, don't pick up the blue cap and you should be alright. And the toothpicks are an incredible find, by the way, because it speeds up our tears. So now that we have this item, we're pretty much going to cruise through the rest of this challenge. We've pretty much removed all remaining challenge because as long as you take like a running start before you attack anything, well, you're not going to have any risk of having any projectiles bounce back onto you. And finally, if you're a big coward, you can also just blow up the doors and run through the rooms without even fighting anything. So it's even simpler than you'd think it will be. Yeah, we definitely gain a whole lot of range with only one item. Isn't that a great thing? So, since there's no treasure rooms for this challenge and you're already strong enough the way that you are, you're usually better to just do a beeline for the exit and completely disregard anything. This is one of those challenges where, for the most part, you can win without even getting any additional items, apart from like the boss room item, and even then, it's not as if you need to explore, you just need to do your little bit of journey in order to find the boss, and that's all that you ever have to do. Yeah, I could have demoed the shield here if I wanted to, but I'm just in the habit to always try to dodge projectiles, so this is why I usually do a very poor job at showcasing the Trinity Shield. Oh, alright, it's time for the puzzle boss. Can you dodge these enemies? Okay, we've done it. Alright, it's time to continue on forward in order to nuke the hell out of even more things. And yeah, whenever you're used enough to my reflection, you can always do these little tricks where you do some sidestepping action in order to slightly steer the projectile in the direction that you want it to go, and therefore you will look very fancy and very efficient at doing your job. And here we go, we're already at Mom. This is how fast things are getting, and it's a good thing that we're going fast, because this is a challenge where we have to go far if we want to eventually succeed. Oh, and we have Blue Mom. That will be a hard fight normally, but hey, Ipecac is an incredible item, and I dare anyone to say otherwise. To me, Ipecac pretty much symbolizes what Binding of Isaac should be. This item is like the complete exemplification of a risk versus reward. Hey, you wanna be an incredible, powerful being? Well, here you are, but you have responsibilities. Alright, I guess that Dark Bomb is going to be useful, and to hell with doing the boss rush, because yeah, we can just cheese it with the Joker card. That's why I didn't go there to begin with, because hey, no more boss rush. Usually whenever you'll have done the boss rush, or if you're in the midst of a challenge and you want a boss rush item, it's always best to just skip the entire thing, and this is exactly how we did things. So we're down to the womb. all in record time, and things are only going to keep going even faster. I honestly cannot see how we will fuck up. I mean, we will have to take like 1,000,000 of hits on Isaac. And to be fair, that's something that will easily happen, yeah. Because, that's right, I just say, whenever we'll meet Isaac, because the last challenge that we did was Darkness Falls, where we had to fight Satan. Well, remember, we had to unlock It Lives in order for this challenge to be unlocked. So, for this one challenge, we're going all the way up. So, what I'm trying to say is, you better get good at Ipecac if you want to prevail in this challenge, because you're going to find that this one challenge is going to be kind of a slug. But if you can manage it, well, congratulations, you're going to have a great time with this challenge. What can I say? I'm sorry, but our aim is not to get that 1/2 of a heart in order to get a homing familiar. Umbilical cords is like one of those trinkets that you're probably never going to want to pick up because it's hardly worth it for the sacrifices that you have to do in order to even have it active. And now let's just go and hunt for treasure. Are there going to be any special blocks all the way over here? It's time to figure it out. Yes, there was, so here we go. We finally have some more health at our tips. And yeah, sometime whenever you make those little weird tentacle-looking like rocks, I'm not even sure what these are supposed to be. Well, you can get some hearts, or you can get a whole bunch of projectiles that are being projected toward your face. With that said, however, bosses like these are like the worst thing that can happen to this one challenge, because this is a very bad boss to fight with Ipecac. A boss that multiplies itself, and whenever you break it down to the smallest part, it explodes into 2 spiders. So, if you don't do this boss fight in an appropriately conservative way, you're going to get yourself overwhelmed with spiders, or you're going to blow yourself up in the face over and over again. And here's 2 more bombs that we're never ever gonna use. I'm sorry, but that's the way it is. I'm pretty sure that I've used only 1 bomb during this entire challenge, and it was in order to figure out if there was anything hidden in that huge patch of blocks that was hidden around here earlier. So, are you ready to dance on the merry-go-round? Yeah, those eyeballs will disappear after you are done with the one room that you're in, by the way. They're a one-time occurrence. Now, I'm not even sure why I'm even blowing up all of these mushrooms, because usually I do it in order to get a magic mushroom, but a mini mush is always a good thing to have as well. And yes, strength card might be useful, yeah, at some point, I don't know. And I'm only going to get to let this little bum friend just get all of my hearts whenever I'll have fully filled up my entire red bar. That's the way it's gonna be for the time being. Okay, and right now, this one thing is really hard to blow up. My good old favorite rooms. Even though that I'm fast enough for this room to not even be a problem, I'm not even gonna bother, because I hate these rooms so much. Any rooms with spikes is usually a room that you're better off not even bothering with in the first place. Yonk. Rooms like these also are the other kind of rooms that you might struggle with, but as long as you can couple all of the little inchworm-like guys close to each other, you're not gonna have too much of a problem to deal with them. Also, somehow I still haven't gotten a single spacebar item during this entire run, and it's not as if it's going to happen anytime soon. And we have a fortune-telling machine. We're just going to pour all of our coins in it in order to try and get soul hearts, which unfortunately did not even happen, so yeah, that was kind of a waste of time. But it's not as if I need to do anything else with my money, so yeah, all in all, I still think I didn't really lose anything by doing that. Hey, what do you know? We have a spacebar item, and get ready for it to be entirely meaningless, because I'm pretty sure that I'm going to mess with it, and honestly, it's not even as if I need to use it in the first place. Yeah, earlier you saw me block one of the projectiles with the Trinity Shield, but I'm still pretending that I'm in danger here because, well, we need to add in some extra tension. But yeah, we finally managed to showcase the shield by blocking a couple of projectiles. And yes, since we have to go to the cathedral, instead of having a portal leading down to Sheol, when you have a devil room, it's replaced by a proper devil deal. And this is something that happens in Afterbirth, by the way. If you have the portals leading down to Sheol in the cathedral unlock, then you're never gonna have any one of these devil or angel rooms that are void of any content and having only a portal leading to said place. No, you're gonna have a proper room, and honestly, that's a pretty nice improvement. But it's like, Afterbirth is kind of a game that for almost every nice improvement that there is, there's a lot of really bad things that I unfortunately do not understand. Oh yeah, with that said, Bob's Rod and Head was kind of useful here because Mr. Mega gives it kind of a boost considering that it's just a regular bomb, so therefore the big damage multiplier that Mr. Mega applies to bombs is also applied to this item. But yeah, that's how powerful Ipecac is. Even a huge sack of hit points like Monstro 2 just goes down in only a couple of hits, and only like 10 or 15 seconds. As opposed to like the entire minute that it sometimes takes to fight him if you fight him in the depth with absolutely no weaponry whatsoever. Now it's time to see if I can jam a huge rock into my face. Yep, here it is, it's homing toward me. Also, I'm kinda laughing at these skeletons, in terms of the projectiles that they have to throw into my way. I'm sorry, but mine are a little stronger. But I have to be careful whenever I use Bob's Rotten Head, because my reflection also works on this thing, so I can very easily blow myself up with it. And compared to our horseman buddy over here, I definitely have a much bigger range with my Ipecac shot, despite them curving back into my own face. Yeah, I could skip this Monstro fight if I wanted to, but I kinda want to see what's in the super secret room, because we might end up having one of those rooms with a shitload of red hearts. This is a trinket that I would have liked, but whatever. We don't need any more soul hearts. We've got all the soul hearts that we'll ever need forever and ever. So let's just let our Dark Bomb collect all of the health, and look at all the blue hearts that we have in return. Don't forget to leave the room, because otherwise he's just going to spit all of the blue hearts or the red hearts that you collected into even more red hearts, because this one room is locked to only produce red hearts. So stay out of the super secret room. And yeah, the tick is really useful against later bosses, because Isaac already started the fight while having lost quite a fair bit of health, so no matter how much health that they have, they go down with a shitload less health in the beginning of the fight, so this is a fight that you'll shorten up quite a bit if you have the tick stuck on you, so it's not always a curse. And that means that we can fast forward to the final part of the fight, where I think it's a little easier to control what this boss is doing in the first place, so yeah, it's going to go down pretty smoothly from now on. I'm pretty sure that we're looking forward to a Isaac fight which will be no hit. The worst part to not get hit on by this boss is the second one where he summons the Rays of Light, but yeah, here we go, we've beaten Isaac without even getting hit. And we get this card as a reward, the Suicide King. A pretty weird card, but in some circumstances it can come in handy. So that'll be it for Challenge 7, Suicide King. Stay tuned for the next update, where we'll play as Samson next, because he still has to clear the boss rush.